Hello everyone, this is Marcy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing a flip through of this journal. I've titled it Mountain Music. I just want to remind you that this is a journal that was commissioned for me to make, so it already has an owner. It won't be going into my Ko-fi shop. But I did share the process with you on camera, and now I'd like to share the flip through with you. Before we do that, I want to make you guys aware of a little glitch, a little YouTube glitch, and that is, as I was checking my comments the other day, I noticed that quite a few of my long-term subscribers and commenters are not subscribed all of a sudden. Every once in a while, YouTube will run an update or what have you, and it will just knock subscribers off. So several of you that comment every week on my videos, pretty please double check. And even if you don't comment on my videos, but you've been watching, look down in your corner here, right hand side, right below your screen, and there's a black subscribe button. If it is showing black, you are no longer subscribed, even if you were before. So please hit the subscribe button. And if you are not subscribed yet, this is a really good time as well to hit the subscribe button and make sure that you are notified when my videos come out. Now let's dive into the flip through. Someone that I know asked me to make them a journal, and so that is what this journal is. We've been working on it for a few weeks. It's titled Mountain Music, and the reason for that is because some of her favorite things, when I asked her what she would like to have included in the journal, some of her favorite things were mountains, music, the color green. She likes rocks and crystals, and so I try to include a natural element, kind of a stone feeling, and nature. She likes nature and she likes gardening. She loves to raise herbs. There's quite a mix of elements and images, themes in here, but it all comes together to basically represent her personality and who she is. Now, the book that I used, the book cover, was a book of poetry, and you'll notice it says A World That Sings, and I just thought that was a really good tie-in with my title, Mountain Music. For the closure, I used this fabric belt, came off of a pair of shorts, and I never wear these kinds of things, so I just set them aside to use as closures, and I think it's perfect. It has 3 signatures. Each signature contained 19 sheets, and so that's essentially 72 pages in each signature. So there's a lot of space for her to write in. I sewed them in off camera. I don't ever do that on camera because it's always a real struggle, and this one was no exception. On the inside covers, I had put these fabric sample pieces, and you'll note I made giant journal cards. This is a page from the original book of poetry, and I love it here. I love the image, I love how carefree it is, and then I stamped on the back. So there is a giant journal card on the front, and when we get to the final cover, you will see it there as well. My only thing I wish I had remembered to do when I glued these down, I wish I had just kind of, you know, maybe taken and put a little curve in the paper because they are very tight against the cover. For the first and third signatures, if you didn't watch any of the process videos, I used an old magazine from the 50s, the Scenic Idaho magazine, since mountains are one of her favorite things. It had a picture of some Idaho mountains on the cover, and I thought that was a nice way to incorporate some of the mountain theme in the journal. Plus, it's just that little bit of vintage that we love. So I just want to go through kind of quickly and just show you. I don't need to talk through all the elements. Some of them I have actually done on camera before. If you go into my ephemera playlist, which is linked below, you can see where I made these envelope pockets. You can see where I made the Mamagami paper. In this pocket here, I found this as I was cleaning things out, and it's a guide to some of the back roads up in the mountains, up in the hills, and so it's got hiking trails, camping spots, and I thought that was a fun little thing to include. Nice little tie-in. I had forgotten I even had it, but I was cleaning things out, and there it was. So I thought it'd be perfect for this journal. I've included a lot of texture in some fabric elements, in the types of paper that I use, and you'll notice that as you go through. There's just a lot of texture, and then elements that kind of harken back to nature or speak of naturey things, including these playing cards that have like a forest scene on them. I also like to use up all of my little bits and pieces. After I've done the main decorating, I come back and I decorate with some of the leftovers and scraps and just kind of keep tying things in. And then I have a lot of vintage postcards. I tried to include a lot of mountain images, and I went back this week and added some extra pages because I just felt like there weren't quite enough mountains in the journal and not quite enough music. So you'll see that I've added some things and also changed again some of the order of the pages to get it just exactly how I want it. The colors that I incorporated were green and pink and purple. There's also a little bit of brown. And I have talked about some of my decision making in the first video on this series. I explained what pages I was picking and why. This is just a folded up piece of a ledger sheet. So be sure to go back and watch the playlist for this journal, which is also going to be linked below in the description box. Here's one that we did on camera a while back, and this is another great place to stash the little bits and pieces that were extra that I didn't include in the journal. I pulled them out, but now she can play with them and put them where she wants. I noticed just as I was getting ready to record this video that our lawn guy showed up, so if he starts mowing or doing some weed whacking in the background, I will do my best to edit out the background noise. This is just a plain card. I thought about decorating it, but I just like the simplicity of it. And I also had a lot of fun just trying to do fun little different elements. Now, I did a journal for her daughter last year in February, and it was the Female Adventurer Art Deco inspired journal, and I went back to watch that to kind of get some ideas back. She had said that she really liked all of the fun little elements I put in that, so then I had to remember what on earth I had put in it. I remembered then, watching that there was kind of a butterfly theme. And I have kind of inadvertently steered towards a bit of a butterfly theme in this one as well. You'll see a lot of the accents with butterflies, and that wasn't on purpose, but then once I realized I had put them in her daughter's journal, I decided to add a few more in here as well. It's not overdone at all. These are playing cards that I just did a triple pocket setup. It's always fun when it's all put together and you can see how it's finished, you know. There comes that point when you know that your journal is done. Now, I included this one so she can write on the back of it, or she could decorate it if she wanted to. And then, since I thought that there weren't enough mountain images, I went and found a couple of books that I have that are more nature themed, and it was really nice because I got some really beautiful pictures of mountains. This one is El Capitan in Yosemite National Park, and I believe I mentioned that she grew up in California, so I'm guessing she may recognize that image. I thought that was a nice tie-in to her upbringing and youth. A lot of different types of journal cards. A lot from books, which I guess is the point of a junk journal. You know, that's what we do. We take old books and turn them into beautiful things. I did want to mention, and I think I did mention it before, the Mamagami, since I used lotions, does leave a faint scent with the perfume. And so if you're a person who's sensitive to that, or you're making journals and doing that, make sure that you note that for people who do have sensitivity to scents and smells and perfumes, because it makes a really big difference. As far as I know, she's not, and so that was one of the reasons I wanted to include those in here, just because of the texture and the feeling of it. This is my solution to the wallpaper piece that I wasn't quite sure about. One of the solutions, it just wasn't, it was kind of too big for what I wanted, so I was trying to think that through. Here's our paper clip, the altered paper clip that we did. I believe that was last week. And then I just tucked a couple things under it. I do like how it turned out, and I like that with the addition of the fiber across the front, it just feels better. And here's another one of those playing cards just tucked on the back. In one of those nature books, there were a lot of really neat quotes as well, so I included quite a few in here that kind of have to do with getting beauty from nature and the joy, the simple joy of being in nature, because that is something she enjoys. Again, you'll see this in my ephemera playlist when I made those guest checks. Actually, I think this one was a 50 stack challenge, so I'll just have to check out that playlist as well. Now this, I wanted to do some kind of a flip up, and I was thinking I could have used another one of those fabric sample pieces, or I could have used a mountain page, because I do have a couple extra left over. But then, since I was trying to cover what was on the back, I laid this down and I found this receipt. And so I thought that made actually kind of a fun little flip up kind of idea. And I taped it here because, you know, this may eventually come apart, and she can always tape it across the front. That's the beauty of a junk journal, is that if you use tape, it won't matter. I added my extra piece that I had cut off. I used this beautiful trim on the first and the third signature, but there was just enough to decorate this envelope flap. And I was gonna glue this together with you on camera, but it just didn't, I couldn't think of a great way to segue that in and do the flip through. And then this is just from a book that I had, and it's a great quote about nature. But that hides my stitches for the center signature. There's a pocket made from music, and then I just tucked a few things inside. This page has a lot of purple on it. And then this is a page from Edith Holden address book. I like that it had the butterfly on it. I found this, again, it's a kind of alluding to her Celtic heritage in her DNA. So I've been working on my scrapbooks from 2012, and that was left over, didn't really fit in. So I thought, well, this is a good spot to include that, because it can act as kind of a big journal card. Oops, I think I bumped the camera there. Even though I didn't make this into an oversized journal, I do have a lot of oversized ephemera. Case in point, these two envelope pockets. I didn't show you on the first one, but I just cut up a piece of scrapbook paper and made a very large journal card, but she can put all kinds of other little secrets in there. And then on the back, trying to incorporate my mountain theme again. Just tried to add some more in. Can you see? Here we go. When you flip that out, there's a surprise under every layer. And I just did a little bit of stenciling and a little bit of stamping. I tell ya, if you are a journal maker, you understand that when you are finished, you feel like a large part of yourself has just been poured into the project, and when you finish, you're kind of ready to take a break. And this was no exception. This is more of a beach theme. I didn't have any cards with mountains on them. And then this just flips down for writing space. This is a packet of wildflower seeds, so she can add those to her garden if she'd like. I got those recently at an event I was at, and I love the image. I don't know where they found these, but I like the artwork on that, so I thought that'd be fun to add in here too. Another nice quote from that same book, and it makes a pocket. Here's one of my vintage cards, and I really love the poem inside. I bought a whole stack of these when we were in Scotland a couple years ago, and this man, Walter, as I read through all of the cards, he gave them to his wife over the years, and so it's so sweet just seeing Walter and the year that he gave it. It's just really very romantic. I don't know anything about Walter or his wife, but I just love knowing that Walter loved his wife so much and gave her so many beautiful notes. And I can only imagine she appreciated them because she saved them for all of her life. Yahtzee score sheet. In a couple of spots you'll see I folded up these weekly calendar pages, and also purchased at that same location. I have a lovely a lovely postcard of the coast in Scotland. Now we're into the third signature. This was a gift to my husband's grandma from her children on her birthday in 1957. So I've just kind of held on to it out of sentiment, but it really ties in nicely for this journal. This was kind of a last minute addition because I needed to cover a picture here of some cowboys and some cattle. And so I wanted a spot where I could add the stenciling into the third signature, and this worked out perfectly. And then it has the holes along the edge because this came from a day timer or a day planner or whatever it's called. And I'd already used this, so I threaded it through the holes, and I think it turned out really pretty. It's very her. In fact, this is what I did with it first. I tied it in these, used a hole reinforcer and tied it on this stationery. So you'll see a lot of elements that are repeated, but also not exactly in the same way. So I like to do that. That to me makes a good presentation as you flip through the journal. I've got just a few little things tucked in there, receipts and cute little things to write on. That's just from a notepad. There you go. This was fun. I made it flip out. Make sure I'm in frame here. And then I made a journal card out of a paint chip, but I wanted the foresty colors. And then this is the same wrapping paper that was on the journal card at the front, in the very front pocket. And then I had this stamp with a mountain, so I did that. And then here I folded it over. I've got it clipped with a paper clip, and then it makes kind of a fun two-sided pocket. Another beautiful picture of a mountain. And then this is just some avocado dyed paper, and I just punched it, and it makes great writing space. So I can show you when you unfold this. This doesn't, you can't really fold it down, but it does fold up to make the extra pocket, but it folds out and you can write here and then cover it up. And because there was gold on the cover with the writing on the title, I tried to use a lot of gold paper clips and stuff to just give that little extra gold accent. However, I didn't have gold, let me go back here. I didn't have gold eyelets. And so I only had silver for that, but that's okay. Okay, the AC's coming on, and I noticed last week when I was recording or when I was editing that you can kind of hear the air conditioning in the background, and I apologize. So again, I'll try to edit that out. Here's our little house pocket. I did these at Christmas when it's got the little gnome. I just like this bit of whimsy for her. I just thought she might have fun with that. Made a little tag to go in there, and then I was going to use a bulkier paper clip. I have to clip it on because when you open it, this chimney's in the way, and I was originally going to glue it, and then I realized that doesn't work if I'm going to open, if someone's going to open the envelope, plus there's writing space on the back, so it's clipped in instead. But that's okay. I think that's fun. This is just a ink-dyed envelope. And so I just made a tuck spot there, and then this is a cutoff from one of those mountain images. It makes a tall skinny tag there, and another one of these. which I folded in the wrong spots, and that has a crease down the middle, but you know what? Because it's a junk journal, we don't have to stress over those kinds of things. So where I glued it on here, I made a pocket. This is the journal card. And then in there, I just tucked another journal card. I didn't stamp anything on this one, but I think that'll be okay. I stamped on quite a few, so she knows to write on them. And then when this is in here, it helps keep the flap of the envelope shut. This is another receipt. It's like one of those old carbon receipts with the two copies to it, and so I just took it apart and layered them up on the page. And then here is a paper clip that will hold a pen. I just want to go to the Dollar Tree or somewhere and get a nice inexpensive pen that I will give her when I give this journal. She won't actually get it until the end of the month when I see her again, but that's all ready to go because I'm going to be gone for a little bit in July, so I just wanted to make sure it was all ready to go. This is another one of those quotes that I cut out of the nature book, and I like it, so I just tucked it in the envelope, and then she can decide where she wants to glue it in and how. And again, you'll notice I tried to use lots of like little accents with music and the Mamagami papers and texture, and just tried to keep that going throughout the whole journal. And there's the very last page. And then also from this book of poetry, I added this poem at the end about the real you, just kind of as an inspiring thought. That is one thing I do like to do on my journals. If I have something that I can put, it's kind of like a final thought or a challenge or a way to encourage the owner of the journal to just kind of close it out. It's just me. That's how I do it. This is what I did with the wallpaper. I just made an oversized journal card for the last cover. The only thing this is missing is my label where I say that it was handmade by me in Idaho, and I need to add my little blurb about what a junk journal is and how to use a junk journal, which I try to include in every journal. So that is my flip through. So I can't believe that we are already at July 4th. It seems like that first month of summer goes so quickly. So happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day to my US viewers and subbies. And for those of you who live elsewhere in the world, I still hope you have a great day on July 4th. But I hope that all of you have a wonderful week. Until next time, be inspired, do something creative today, and I will talk to you in next week's video. Bye-bye now.